Pregnant wife dies in labor. In-laws and mistress celebrate until the doctor whispers, "It's twins." The doctor said her heart had stopped. The machines went quiet. In that frozen hospital room, some people bowed their heads in fake sorrow, while others couldn't hide their relief. A life had ended, or so they thought. But no one noticed the tear that slid down her cheek. No one realized she could still hear every cruel word spoken around her bed. Before we begin the story, take a moment to subscribe to Kindness Tales. Like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be, even in the darkest moments. The smell of antiseptic filled the labor and delivery room as Emily lay motionless on the hospital bed. She was 8 months pregnant, exhausted after hours of painful labor. Her breathing was shallow, a clear oxygen mask fogging faintly with each weak breath. Nurses moved quickly, their faces tense. Alarms had blared just minutes earlier, then suddenly stopped. Outside the glass doors, a small group waited. Daniel, her husband, stood with his arms crossed, not a single tear on his face. Beside him was his mother, Margaret, dressed neatly as if attending a dinner party rather than a hospital emergency. And standing far too close to Daniel was Rachel, the woman everyone pretended was. Just a family friend. When the doctor finally stepped out, his face was serious. "We did everything we could," he said softly. Her heart stopped for a moment. "We managed to stabilize her, but she's in a very critical state." Margaret sighed, not in grief but in annoyance. "So, is it over?" she asked bluntly. Daniel glanced at Rachel, who squeezed his hand. "She suffered long enough," Rachel whispered, loud enough for others to hear. "Maybe this is for the best." Inside the room, Emily couldn't move. Her body felt heavy, distant, as if it no longer belonged to her. But her mind was painfully awake. She heard every word, every cruel breath of relief, every unkind sentence that stabbed deeper than the labor pains ever did. She remembered how different things used to be. Emily had married Daniel, believing in love, loyalty, and family. At first he was kind, attentive, but after she became pregnant, everything changed. He grew cold, distant, always on his phone, always working late. Margaret never hid her dislike for Emily, calling her too soft and not good enough for their family. When Emily discovered Daniel's affair with Rachel, she was already 6 months pregnant. She begged him to end it for the sake of their child. He promised he would. He lied. Now, as she lay between life and death, they stood outside, celebrating her supposed end. "Thank God she's gone," Margaret muttered. "Now Daniel can finally start over." Emily wanted to scream. She wanted to open her eyes and tell them she was still there, that she was still fighting. But her body refused to respond. Moments later, the doctor returned, urgency in his voice. "We need to take her into emergency surgery immediately. The babies are in distress." "Babies?" Rachel frowned. "You mean the baby?" The doctor paused, looking at his chart. "No babies. She's carrying twins." The hallway went silent. Margaret's face drained of color. "Twins?" she repeated, stunned. "Yes," the doctor said firmly. 2 heartbeats. And they're still alive." Daniel's expression shifted, not to concern, but panic. If she doesn't make it," he asked carefully, "the babies will still be delivered, right?" Emily heard that too, and something inside her broke, and then hardened. The surgery lasted hours. A nurse named Clara stayed by Emily's side, gently wiping her forehead, whispering words of encouragement, even though she thought Emily couldn't hear. "You're not alone," Clara said softly. "Your babies need you. Fight." Those words mattered. Those words were kindness. Against all odds, Emily's heart stabilized. The twins were delivered, 2 tiny cries echoing through the operating room. A boy and a girl, fragile but alive. When Daniel and his family were finally allowed back in, they saw Emily pale but breathing. The twins were in incubators nearby. Margaret forced a smile. "Well," she said stiffly, "this is unexpected." Rachel stood frozen, realizing her dreams of replacing Emily had just shattered. Days passed. Emily slowly recovered. She pretended not to remember what she heard, but she never forgot, and she watched closely. Clara visited often, helping Emily learn how to hold her babies, how to breathe through the pain. how to believe in herself again. One afternoon, Clara said gently, "I heard everything that day. You didn't deserve any of it." Tears filled Emily's eyes for the first time since the surgery. "Thank you," she whispered. With Clara's encouragement, Emily found the strength to speak up. She asked to see a hospital social worker. She contacted a lawyer. She quietly prepared her escape. When Daniel came in one evening, acting as if nothing had happened, Emily looked at him calmly. "I want a divorce," she said. He laughed nervously. "You're emotional. Let's talk later." "There is no later," she replied. "I heard you. All of you." His face fell. Margaret protested. Rachel disappeared from the picture entirely. But it was too late. The truth was out. Emily left the hospital with her twins and moved in with her sister. It wasn't easy. Nights were long. Money was tight. But she was free. Years later, Emily often thought about how close she came to giving up, how cruelty almost broke her, and how one nurse's kindness helped save her life. She started volunteering at the same hospital, supporting women in difficult pregnancies. She told them, "Even when people fail you, kindness can come from unexpected places. And sometimes it's enough to change everything." Her twins grew up surrounded by love, learning that strength and kindness often walk hand in hand. And that's the lesson of this story. Kindness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper in a hospital room, a gentle hand, a reminder that you matter. If this story touched your heart, remember, a small act of kindness can save a life. Spread it, live it, and never underestimate its power.